Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you may be. It's like a warlord. The stash. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Happy Monday. We've got some stuff to talk about. We've got some updates in the lawsuit. Might you say it's pretty spicy? I'll put on my devil's advocate horns here. Here we go. All right, so I'm devil's advocate right now. Okay, got it? Devil's advocate. Got it. Here we go. All right, so we basically had several things happen. An extension for a motion time to file an answer, so we'll look at that one. Answer to amended complaint. So speaking in the FAST Discord, it was mentioned that the reason his Thurston's original TRO was denied was because he didn't have anything in his original lawsuit that mentioned the nodes being turned off. So he had to file something that would have that, so that the judge could rule on a TRO. It basically was my understanding, which makes sense when you think about it. He didn't get denied because of what he claimed. He got denied because what he claimed wasn't technically applicable to the current lawsuit. So we've got an answer to amended complaint, and then we have a request for summons issued electronically. We'll look at that. Motion for temporary restraining order and an affidavit. Okay, so let's look at those. All right, so here we have a motion to extend the deadline, which basically says that the defendants to respond to the plaintiff's complaint is extended to the deadlines for the plaintiff to respond to the defendant and for the defendant to respond to the plaintiff moved to November 14th, and it got approved. So pretty exciting stuff there. Then we have the big kibosh. All right, this is the big kibosh here. This is the big kit and caboodle. This is a 100-page document, so we're going to go as fast as we possibly can through it. This is an answer to the first amended shareholder derivative complaint and counterclaims. Jury trial demanded. This is what they did, basically consolidating the two lawsuits. If you notice, we're using the 589 up here. So that's the current lawsuit. If you're trying to look this up, that's the number you need. Okay? So, we begin. On January 1st, 2019, Bene signed a simple two-page founders agreement with Thurston. Okay, it states developing and hold intellectual property rights and licenses, develop and operate games, operate cryptocurrency exchange for the games, sell software, hardware nodes for the blockchain, host software and hardware nodes, and other affiliate services and products. I find this interesting actually because I've always been told they don't want to be an exchange. So I find it interesting that the founders agreement actually has that in there. The two founders and their affiliated companies would earn revenue, cryptocurrency, digital assets, and rewards, legendary items, hold stock of other equity interests, and other consideration, collectively ownership from each of the BGP companies. From the outset, they intended to equitably share and participate in the ownership derived from the BGP companies, 50% to Benefactor, 50% to True North. Okay, and just so you don't remember, True North is Thurston's company. They also promised they would not they would not do anything that would circumvent or compete with their common enterprise. More to the point, they shook hands over not doing anything to squeeze out or diminish the rights of ownership of any of the parties in this agreement. Each of them was entitled to earn dividends, distribution, salary, compensation, other benefits as a shareholder, owner, director, manager, member, officer, blah, blah, blah. Personal rights. The parties were signed a shareholder agreement on the same day. Their respective interests could not be sold save via a supermajority vote, thereby ensuring that Bene and Thurston were joined to the hip going forward. Put simply, BGP's business was born out of their common vision to build and operate a novel gaming ecosystem with the Gala platform on Thurston's innovative blockchain technology. So we talked about this before. The whole reason that Bene did this deal with the devil, if you want to call Thurston that, was because of his node technology. But things have changed. Bene has wantonly disregarded the letter and spirit of the partnership and securing sole operating control of the Gala ecosystem in a manner that has harmed Thurston and True North, other shareholders, and underlying community of third parties that support the ecosystem. The assertions that Bene makes in this amended complaint constitute a masterclass in gaslighting. He accuses Thurston of theft, yet Bene is the thief. Interesting. He accuses Thurston of looting the business, yet Bene controls, manipulates, and drains its assets. He says Thurston is hiding assets, yet he refuses Thurston's request to have a third party to conduct an audit. He asserts that Thurston liquidated corporate assets for his own benefit, yet Bene is operating parallel competing businesses in the shadows using corporate assets that belong to the common venture. And Bene has resorted to impermissible self-help to punish Thurston for challenging Bene's control, denying Thurston and True North the ability to earn dividends, distributions, salaries, compensation, and other benefits, referring to the founders agreement. In sum, Bene, not Thurston, who has violated the central precept of their founders agreement to not squeeze out or diminish the other ownership of any party in the agreement. To this action, Thurston and True North seek to bring transparency and justice to Bene's reckless parade of fraudulent, wrongful actions. Woo! Getting spicy, baby. Getting spicy. All right. Thus, Thurston and True North, by and through undersigned counsel, hereby respond to Bene's first amended verified shareholder derivative complaint as follows. This is a shareholder's derivative action. So we talked about this in the beginning, right? The shareholder derivative action is this person, this entity. In this case, we have Bene on one side and Thurston on the other. Both of them are claiming to be working on the better half or for the shareholders / BGP, not just their own personal interests. 1 second. What we're going to see throughout this is what Thurston, what Bene has said, and then they're going to reply. So you'll see a number and then an answer, right? So we're going to try and chew through these as fast as possible. Thurston is one of 2 directors of Gala Games. He controls True North, a 40.927% shareholder in the company. Answer. Defendants admit the complaint purports to be a derivative action for the benefits of BGP and admits that Thurston is one of the 2 directors. And that True North owns 40% of the outstanding shares in BGP, as reflected specifically in the Carta database. Defendants deny that True North is Thurston's investment vehicle and that he controls True North. Defendants deny that any claims alleged in the complaint are meritorious. I feel like it's kind of established that True North is that's his second property, so I don't get that one. In early 2021, Thurston stole the cryptocurrency. Answer. Defendants admit that Gala tokens are the core utility token for the Gala Games ecosystem, but denied the company was the sole developer of that ecosystem and denied the defendants stole any cryptocurrency from BGP. Except as expressly admitted, defendants deny the allegations in this paragraph. Okay, so we did something, but we're not going to say what we did. Got it. While confronting about this theft, the company Gala, Thurston falsely stated he had simply intended to hold the Gala. Answer. Defendants admit they moved the Gala to private wallets and have exchanged or sold approximately 3 billion Gala tokens that were owned by True North and held in those wallets between approximately 2021 and 2023. Defendants expressly deny stealing any Gala or making any efforts to obfuscate any transactions involved in exchange or sale of Gala. Defendants affirmatively assert, as described in the counterclaims, that Bene burned approximately 5.5 billion Gala belonging to True North in these specific wallets, as well as the additional Gala belonging to True North and other shareholders and other wallets or accounts. So we're referencing here the V2, I'm assuming. That's what it sounds like. When Bene made V2, it wasn't for the ecosystem, it wasn't for you, it was for him to try and shaft Thurston. And more importantly, he didn't just shaft Thurston, he shafted other people. There are people that had their Gala V1 on Coinbase and didn't get it out. In an admitted scheme designed to destroy the value of True North's Gala, as expressly admitted, defendants denied the allegations of this paragraph. Thurston has also stole license to operate nodes. Answer. Defendants admit that BGP uses software licenses called nodes to perform work which results in Gala tokens and admit that they've been the subject of litigation concerning certain node licenses. Defendants deny that they stole any node licenses and deny they kept the proceeds of sales from a stolen node license for themselves. Okay. United States Securities and Exchange Commission also sued Thurston and True North earlier this year, alleging that Thurston defrauded purchasers of green boxes by falsely representing him. Answer. Defendants admit the SEC sued Thurston, among many others, related to alleged securities violations, and note that on September 8th, 2023, the Honorable Bruce Jenkins, my boy, what's up, Bruce Jenkins, dismissed the fraud charge that the SEC brought against Thurston. There you go. So those charges were dismissed. Indeed, Thurston has founded numerous companies which have ended up insolvent, bankrupt, etc. Defendants admit that Thurston has been part of a founding number of companies, but deny that most of them have ended up insolvent. Defendants assert that while Thurston is a founder of BGP, the source of the majority of the IP behind the company and one of its primary sources of capital, Bene has systematically isolated him, ignored his advice and counsel, disregarded basic requirements of proper corporate governance, and taken actions against the best interests of the company, its shareholders, and the Gala community. In this action, plaintiff, who has been the shareholder in Gala Games since inception, seeks disgorgement or restitution for the millions of dollars allegedly stolen. Defendants admit that Schermeyer is a founder and that he seeks the disgorgement. Thurston is the director of the company. However, the defendants deny that Schermeyer is entitled to requested relief whatsoever. Instead, as stated in the counterclaim, Bene, not defendants, has breached the fiduciary duties, stolen millions of dollars from the company, and put his own self-interest ahead of the interest of the company, its shareholders, and the Gala community. I would like to go on record and say, I think they're both doing it. I think they're both acting in their self-interest. I think both of them are not acting in the best interest of Gala Games, the company, its shareholders, or the community. I think that's clear. I think both of them are. And that's why I've stated continually, I think both of them should be removed from the company, as well as everyone else that's involved and complicit in all of these lawsuits and allegations. So, just to be clear. Number 8, the court has diversity jurisdiction over this action. Answer, the allegations contained in this paragraph contain a legal conclusion to which no response is required. To the extent response is required, defendants lack knowledge of sufficient form. 9, this court has jurisdiction over the defendant herein. Defendants admit that True North is a limited liability company with a principal place of business in Wasatch County, Utah. Defendants deny that Thurston is a resident of the district, except as expressly admitted. Okay, so I believe Thurston lives in Costa Rica, is where he's actually at. Number 10, venue is proper in this court pursuant. Allegations, we don't care about that one. Parties. Nominal defendant, Gala Games is incorporated under the laws of Wyoming. Defendants admit the allegations of this paragraph. Number 12, plaintiff is domiciled and is a citizen of California. Plaintiff is currently a director and shareholder of Gala Games and was acquired. Okay, this is good. Plaintiff is also the president and CEO of the company. Prior to forming the company, plaintiff was the co-founder of Zynga, and the company went public and was valued for $12.7 billion. Okay. Defendants admit that Bene was a co-founder, initial shareholder, except expressly lack knowledge of sufficient information. Okay, we don't care about that one. Defendant Wright Thurston is domiciled and a citizen of Utah. Answer, defendant deny that he is domiciled and a citizen of Utah. Okay, so he doesn't live in Utah. True North is a Utah limited liability company. Thurston was True North's sole manager. Thurston was again listed as sole manager. Defendants admit True North is a limited liability LLC and is currently manager thereof. He lives in Puerto Rico. There we go. I said Costa Rica, it's Puerto Rico. While True North is located in Utah. True North members are WWT Legacy Trust, SMT Legacy Trust, a bunch of legacy trusts. Okay, defendants deny that Thurston is domiciled in Utah. Otherwise, the trust documents speak for themselves. There you go. Facts. Oh, we got the facts, baby. You know we love facts around here. Thurston is a person who comes across as earnest and convincing. He does favors for people in online profile pictures, just cuddling his wife. What? I love this. I love this. They are going for the jugular, man. He calls himself dedicated member of his community, frequent volunteers with his church. Answer, defendants admit that Thurston is a dedicated member of his community. This is great. I love this. Yes, that is true. First Line Security Incorporated. Thurston formed First Line Security in about 2002. First Line was accused of recruiting college students to sell products door to door. Answer, defendants admit that Thurston was the founder of First Line Security, which was formed in 2002. First Line Security is one of the first smart home security providers in America. And Thurston was one of the youngest CEOs in the top 500 list in 2007. He was also a finalist for Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. And they deny everything else. Elevate Incorporated. Thurston was the founder. They admit that he was the founder. According to filing in a federal court in Nevada, Thurston purportedly resigned from Elevate in 2015, remains functional control of Elevate. Defendants note that Bene has done nothing more than apparently cherry-pick unsubstantiated quotes from court filings. Defendant further state that the court documents, reference thereof, speak for themselves. I love this. I love this. It's so petty. It's so petty, and I love it. And for the record, once again, this shouldn't be happening, right? This shouldn't be happening. But I'm enjoying it. Okay? It shouldn't be happening, but it is. So here we are, popcorn. The custodian of Elevate subpoenaed financial records from Thurston in 2017. The answer, defendants admit that Thurston received a subpoena for financial records and he litigated the legitimacy of that subpoena under the circumstances. Defendant note that the documents in the case speak for themselves. All right. More Elevate Solar. We're going to skip through all this because this is all about other companies, right? This has nothing to do with Gala Games. Here we go. Answer 20. This is number 24. This is going to be interesting. All right. Thurston owned Block United, and they failed to pay their power bill. Defendants admit that Thurston was the founder and that default judgments were entered against the company for failing to pay power bills, and such failure occurring following the takeover of Block United operations by its co-founder of the company. Okay. According to the appellate court filing, Block United, there was a number of disputes subsequently arose concerning Thurston, among other things. Defendants admit that Block United litigation was initiated and everything else is denied. According to public records, Blockchain United upheld its end of the agreement. Defendants deny the allegations of this paragraph. Just as simple as that. What were the allegations? That Thurston specified sums of money and assets. Certainly continued denied to sign the required dismissal and release papers. Delay on being too busy. So they deny all of that. The company moved to enforce the settlement agreement, and the court held oral argument on the motion. There, the court asked Thurston why his intention was to rescind the settlement agreement. He had kept all the money paid as part of the same agreement. The court disagreed, found that Thurston's claim was defrauded the entirely baseless. Defendants deny the allegations of this paragraph. They had no comment. March 2022, purchased a $40 million house on the Caribbean island of Puerto Rico. March 2022, that's when Gala was good, baby. Defendants admit that Thurston purchased a home in Puerto Rico in March 2022. They deny any indication that the transaction was in any way inappropriate, rather upon misinformation and belief. Without board approval, Bene has himself misused and misappropriated millions of dollars of BGP funds for his own benefit. Companies, yeah. So Bene's also bought a bunch of stuff. So can we show that? Are we allowed to show that? Let's show that. All right. So we have Bene and his wife getting some work done. Okay. So we've got that. Yep. And that's signed in Costa Rica. So he's got work done in Costa Rica. We've also got a promissory note to pay some stuff because he's borrowing money to build some things. We got another promissory note for him to borrow money to buy things. Oh, Jesse signed that one. And then we got Encinitas. We got him building a house in Encinitas. So yeah, he's going to bring up that Thurston's buying stuff, and he was doing that as well. Now the problem was that his money? Was that his money or was that Gala's money? Right? So he's bringing it up so that it's going to be on the table now. In 2019, plaintiff, they formed Gala Games. Defendants admit that they formed it and has failed companies' alleged fraud, but denied Thurston has a history of failed companies' alleged fraud. Okay. The company developed Gala Games platform, blockchain-based gaming. Defendants admit the allegations and allege that the intellectual property used to create the Gala Games blockchain ecosystem and infrastructure was provided by Thurston and his team. From everything I've seen, this checks out. True North, not True North, but let's call it Green, had the goods, and that's why Bene did the deal with him. Blockchain is a distributed ledger. Defendants admit the allegations and allege the intellectual property again was provided by Thurston and his team. Nodes of the blockchain check and validate each other by consensus. Defendants admit that this was all by Thurston. Gala's an ERC token. Defendants admit that this is true. So they're repeating the same things. Transactions on the Ethereum blockchain generally require payment of gas. Defendants admit that this is true and everything is provided by Thurston. Unlike Ethereum nodes, again, this is Thurston did it. Gala nodes are available to the public and to purchase. When a person buys a Gala node, they receive a software and a license from the company to operate the Gala node. They are capped at 50,000. Defendants admit that this is true and it was provided by Thurston. Owners of the Gala nodes are able to mint Gala as a reward for operating their nodes. Defendants admit that nodes owners receive distributions of Gala tokens rewards in proportion to the number of nodes they have in operation, and that owners are able to vote regarding certain matters that affect Gala Games' ecosystem. Defendants affirmatively allege that the intellectual property used to create it was provided by Thurston and his team. There you go. Every day there's a emission of Gala, and the amount of Gala is emitted depending on the current circulating supply. Defendants admit there's a daily distribution, and it is the Gala distributed on any day is limited to a predetermined amount, but that the current distribution methodology was never approved by the board. So this is important. This is an important sentence in this one. The shareholders or the node owners. So the way they're doing it, Thurston alleges was never approved by the board, the shareholders, or the node owners. Defendants denied the company receives or should receive a portion of the distribution daily, as such distribution would be contrary to the company's decentralized and non-custodial model that was specifically prohibited at the company's formation. Defendants affirmatively allege that the intellectual property. Okay, so basically what he's saying here is he doesn't agree with the way things are going. Prior to July 21st, 2021, 25% of the daily emission of Gala was distributed to the Gala node owners, and 75% was distributed to the company. Defendants affirmatively allege the node owners were always to be paid 100% of Gala distributions. So this is interesting. He's saying that this is the way it is, but it is the way it should not be. The portion of the daily emission of Gala that is distributed to Gala node owners is distributed among Gala owners whose node have been active for the minimum required time during the previous 24-hour period. Defendants admit the allegations of paragraph to the extent that they apply to node owners other than True North and Bene, and to the extent that they apply when Bene and True North's nodes have been turned on. Defendants affirmatively allege that there was an initial 75-25 split in Gala distribution in the early testing phase, which reflected the actual distribution of nodes between Thurston and Bene, who in combination owned more than 75% of the nodes, and the rest of the node owners who owned about 25% of the nodes. As explained in the counterclaim, 75% was distributed to Bene and True North according to their ownership percentage, and defendants admit that 75-25 split continued through the reduction from 75-25 to 50-50 when, as the company sold additional nodes, the ownership proportion of nodes between the founders and the community grew closer to 50-50. So it was 75-25 for most of the time, they were making bank, and then it switched to 50-50 or closer to 50-50 once more people bought nodes. Gala distributed node owners is sent to the treasure chest as a mint allowance. The answer: defendants admit the allegations in this paragraph, but only as of some time in 2021, and affirmatively allege that the intellectual property used. We got to let you know this was our technology. Gala distributed company account wallets. Defendants admit the cryptocurrency wallets and their associated private keys were used to transact across the blockchain system. Defendants deny the company is distributed Gala, given that the company owns no nodes. Interesting point there. The company's Gala is used to fund various company purposes. Defendants deny that the company is distributed Gala, given that the company owns no nodes. Defendants affirmably allege that revenue streams used to support BGP operations would come from traditional free-to-play video game monetization, initial sale of blockchain assets, transaction fees, the resale of the assets, and shareholder loans or capital contributions to BGP. So they're not supposed to be getting money off of the distribution, which they are in themselves creating every day. Since January 2023, the company planned to upgrade from Gala V1 to V2. Okay. Defendant denied the company planned an upgrade from V1 to V2. The upgrade was not discussed or approved by the directors or shareholders of the company. Instead, Bene admits, as described in the defendant's counterclaims, the upgrade was specifically designed to deprive defendants of Gala when they had as owners more than 7,000 nodes. Okay, so this is another key argument here that V2 didn't need to exist. They did it to get Thurston and True North out of there. As promised in the vision paper, the forthcoming Gala V2 implementation was publicly announced on April 18th and took place on May 15th. Defendants admit that Bene executed his plan to destroy billions of Gala token belonging to the defendants and others in May 2023, and he did so without director or shareholder approval. Management of the company. Since company's inception, Plaintiff and Thurston have been only two directors of the company. Defendant admits all allegations in this paragraph. Plaintiff is the president and CEO. Defendants admit that Bene is the president and CEO of the company and that he obligated to exercise his authority consistent with the terms and conditions of the bylaws and under the direction of the company directors, but, as described in the counterclaims, deny that he has done so. Since the company's formation, Plaintiff has duly managed the company. The defendants deny all allegations in this paragraph. Yeah, of course they did. Thurston has held the nominal title of Chief Blockchain Officer. Thurston himself has admitted that he does not act in the capacity. Defendants admit that Thurston has held the title of CBO until he resigned in light of Bene's unwillingness to follow Thurston's advice, despite Thurston having brought the blockchain-based intellectual property on which operated the company. So he did resign from his role. Interesting. Thurston was involved in the company early on. Defendants admit that Thurston is a founder of BJP and has been involved in management and operations since founding, having provided significant guidance and support without salary in his role for several years, except as expressly admitted. Okay. Indeed, much of the company's efforts over the past several years has been to move away from the problematic ideas or structures implemented by Thurston in the early days of the company. Defendants deny. As the inception of the company, Thurston, or a company under his control, received 7,000 Gala nodes, and Plaintiff also received roughly 7,000 nodes. Defendant admits that True North received approximately 7,000 nodes at the inception of the company, and that Bene received the same number. Thurston and Plaintiff agreed not to operate the nodes, as this concentration of nodes and two founders was contrary to the company's foundational goal of decentralization. Defendants admit that there was a period when Bene and the nodes and True North nodes were not operating in the beginning of fall 2020 in order to maintain the stability of the system. The ongoing matter of distribution during this period was hardwired and visible in the reward distribution formula. Bene's nodes were activated in June 2023. Apart from directing the preparation of the company's annual tax returns, Thurston had no legitimate involvement with the company for years by his own choice. Defendants admit that Thurston was involved in aspects of BGP's business, but otherwise deny the allegations of this paragraph, and firmly assert that Bene has unlawfully cut Thurston out of the management of BGP without notice or shareholder vote, which has caused BGP to operate without notice to or input from Thurston, thus eliminating Thurston's ability to help guide BGP and help the company. So if this is true, right, that's pretty important, I feel like. If this is, this is supposed to be 50-50 and Bene's just doing what he wants, that's not good. Thurston has not been involved in day-to-day operations of the company. Defendants admit that Thurston has not had day-to-day responsibilities at BGP, which is why he never took a salary or benefits from the company. Defendants otherwise deny the allegations in this paragraph and assert that Bene has unlawfully cut Thurston out. So repeat that again. In recent years, Thurston was virtually unreachable. Defendants deny the allegations in this paragraph and firmly assert that Bene has unlawfully cut Thurston. Okay, we got a repetition. Part D, Thurston stepped in dumping of the company Gala tokens. In the early days of the company kept its Gala tokens in a single wallet. Defendants deny that the company has been distributed Gala, given that the company owns no nodes. Defendants firmly assert that no company treasury wallet has ever been established. BGP's terms and conditions have never contained language informing customers that BGP would establish or had established a treasury. No board of directors or shareholder vote has ever been taken to approve the creation of treasury. BGP's tax filings this is the good stuff right here, boys. Indicate there is no treasury. No smart contracts have ever been created to establish a treasury, the maximum amount allowed, or the terms and conditions of its use. So I feel like this is provable, right? Was there a treasury or not? On September 12, 2020, the company moved 19, almost 20 billion of the company's Gala from a single company wallet to many company wallets. Sole purpose was moving these Gallets to keep the company's assets more secure. Defendants admit that on or about September 12th, the decision was made to transfer True North's and Bene's personal Gala from joint wallets into wallets that they separately own and control based in part on security concerns. Defendants deny that the company has been directly distributed Gala because they own no nodes. Defendants asserted that there is no company treasury. Could we repeat that part? When the company moved his Gala to these numerous wallets, plaintiff and Thurston were given private keys. Defendants admit that much of True North and Bene's personal Gala was held in joint wallets in which they both had access via private keys and that it was moved into subsequent wallets based in part of security current. So they repeat the same thing. Okay. The company's savings wallet sat untouched between September 2020 and February 2021. Defendants deny the allegations, deny the company has been directly distributed Gala. There's no treasury. Repeat the same thing. Then the company discovered that one of the company's savings wallets was empty. Defendants admit that they withdrew and moved personal Gala owned by True North from certain cryptocurrency wallets to other wallets. There you go. Upon examination, the company discovered that many of the company's savings wallets holding the company's Gala were empty. Defendants admit that they withdrew and moved personal Gala owned by True North and certain cryptocurrency wallets to other wallets. There you go. In total, Gala Games learned that about 8.6 billion of the company's Gala tokens were missing. Defendants admit that they withdrew and moved personal Gala owned by True North and certain cryptocurrency wallets to other wallets. So they're saying, yes, we moved wallet, but it was ours. Initially appeared the company's savings wallet had been hacked by an outside threat actor. Okay, once again, we admit we moved it. They deny the allegations, including the existence of a company savings wallet. Specifically, on February 3rd, 2021, a series of 43 rapid transactions, Thurston or True North transferred stolen Gala from 43 of the company's savings wallets into 43 separate wallets controlled by Thurston or True North. Defendants admit that they withdrew and moved personal Gala. There you go. Gala Games personnel confronted Thurston, who explained he had simply moved the stolen Gala to the Thurston wallets for safekeeping. Defendants admit they withdrew personal Gala. Plaintiff demanded that Thurston return the stolen Gala to the company, but Thurston refused. Defendants admit they withdrew and moved personal Gala. I'm seeing a trend here. Are you seeing a trend here? The stolen Gala represented approximately 20% of the Gala minted and more than 100% of the total amount of Gala in circulation at the time. Defendants admit they withdrew and moved personal Gala. Defendants assert that Scheremeyer had moved an equivalent amount into his own private wallets within 2 months of the transactions about which he now complains. So he is another large Gala holder, also had the ability to dump his Gala or engage in a rug pull, except as explicitly admitted. Okay. Thurston effectively held the company hostage. Defendants denied the allegations. Specifically, they denied that he held the company hostage because Bene could have done the same thing. That Bene had credible fear that Thurston would do it. The company was forced to rely upon Thurston's representation. Defendants deny the allegations, specifically that he held them. Okay. The company tracked Thurston's wallets. They admit that they personal Gala. Thurston's statement he intended to keep the company's Gala secure. Defendants deny that the company has been distributed Gala. They have no nodes. Company treasury doesn't exist. More than a year after having transferred the stolen Gala, Thurston and or True North began quietly moving stolen Gala from the Thurston wallets in a complex and obfuscatory web of transactions. Oof. Defendants admit that they withdrew and moved personal Gala owned by True North, certain cryptocurrencies. Boom. There you go. Complex web transactions. Defendants admit they moved personal Gala. They could have simply transferred the stolen Gala directly from the Thurston wallets to a centralized exchange, minimizing the effort and gas fees. Instead, they directed hundreds of transfers and exchanges of stolen Gala to and from hundreds of wallets, paying a fee for each transfer. Defendants admit that they withdrew and moved personal Gala. Good. So they're trying to say because of the way he did it, it's suspicious, right? Each of the transfers of stolen Gala is visible in the Ethereum blockchain up to a point. Defendants admit they withdrew with personal Gala, of course. Nearby, all the stolen Gala total value, it would have been about $130 million. Defendants admit they moved personal Gala. Plaintiffs sent numerous messages to Thurston. The defendants admit that Thurston via True North withdrew and moved personal Gala. Excuse me. It's repeating the same arguments. Okay. Thurston first responded he was selling some of the Gala tokens in order to purchase ammunition for firearms. Then he stopped responding. I like that. Defendants admit that Thurston told Bene in a conversation that he had sold Gala and was buying firearms, but at no time did Thurston concede that any such Gala belonged to BGP or any entity other than True North or Thurston personally, except as, there we go. Ultimately, plaintiffs sent Thurston a text message stating, "You're selling Gala on Coinbase and being watched by communities hurting the business." Defendants admit the allegations of this paragraph, but firmly assert that Thurston responded as follows: "I don't have access to any company reserves. The only Gala I have is from our early node miner rewards. You had the same, and the node rewards have been going to your holding tank since then. I have moved Gala several times to pay media plus education groups and Liberty-sponsored projects related to kids. I also sent $200 million a few weeks ago to BGP that Jarrett confirmed he got. We should get together and audit, separate our personal holdings and other staff holdings and NFTs. You and I still have personal holdings, I believe, for both NFT and Gala in the bigger holding based on your ownership. Again, Thurston failed to respond. Defendant denied the allegations and he replied with this message. I'm assuming there's a screenshot of this somewhere. Unable to secure the stolen Gala, Thurston unable to make public disclosures, the company was forced to seek an engineering solution for the problem at hand. Defendants deny the allegations and assert that they, rather than being forced to act, Bene engaged in self-help and engineered a scheme to burn and destroy all of True North's Gala by causing BGP to burn billions of Gala V2 tokens belonging to some of BGP's shareholders and node owners without board approval. So this is pretty big. If they can prove this, then that indeed proves that Bene has acted in the behest of the shareholders, which is what this whole thing is about the shareholders. The solution involved the issuance of Gala V2 in May 2023. When Gala V2 was issued, it was distributed into the wallets of users who held Gala V1. Defendants admit the allegations and affirm that Bene engaged in self-help. Once again, Gala V2 was issued to replace Gala V1. Gala V2 tokens were not deposited into Thurston's wallets, and he was left with obsolete Gala V1 tokens in those wallets. After that, Thurston was no longer able to sell the stolen Gala. Defendants admit the allegations of this paragraph and affirmly assert that Bene engaged in self-help. Once again, taking this action, the company was able to mitigate some of the damage. Defendants admit they withdrew and moved personal Gala. They said there's no company treasury. The tax filings don't show it. Same repeated stuff. Thurston's story regarding the tokens he stole has been inconsistent. He initially claimed he had moved the stolen Gala from the company wallets merely to keep them secure. Defendants admit they withdrew and moved personal Gala. They deny the company has been distributed Gala. Same story. It appears that Thurston's new story is that Gala he stole from the company actually belonged to him or True North. Like so much of what Thurston has said over the years, this story is entirely false. Defendants admit they withdrew personal Gala. Same story. The company's accounting reports accessible to Thurston have always been reflective of the company's savings wallet. Defendants deny the allegations of this paragraph, specifically deny that the company has been distributed Gala. They own no nodes. There is no company savings wallet. Okay. The company's public-facing statements have always been consistently stated to the portion of all Gala goes to the company, not to Thurston True North. Indeed, point information to believe Thurston's other companies have utilized the same model of token distribution. Defendants deny the allegations, specifically deny that the company's been... Okay, so same thing. Finally, if the stolen Gala actually belonged to Thurston, he would not have secretly and rapidly moved the Gala from the company's savings wallets. Defendants admit that they moved it personally. Defendants deny that the company's... Yep, so same thing. Thurston's claim that the company's assets belong to him rather than the company echoes a similar claim he made in the Blockchain United litigation, which claim was rejected by the court and Thurston was ordered to pay the company's attorney fees. Defendants admit that they withdrew in personal Gala. Okay. There you go. Same answer. Plaintiff has demanded that Thurston return the stolen Gala. Defendants admit they withdrew personal Gala. All right. Thurston's theft of Gala node license and alleged defrauding of investors in smart boxes. Thurston has stolen Gala nodes from the company. Then defendants deny allegations. In or around November 21st, 2021, plaintiff noted that the company's Gala distribution report showed a new license named Jason Anderson with 672 operational Gala nodes earning Gala tokens. Defendant denied the allegations of this paragraph. At the time, Anderson had more Gala active nodes than anyone else. They deny. The company found that the false entity made in the system were stolen licenses were activated without anyone having paid for them. Company disabled the stolen license because it appeared the company had been hacked by an outside threat actor. Defendants deny. In fact, it was not an outside hacker, it was Thurston. Deny. The company ultimately learned that the lawsuit between Thurston and Anderson's company Blocks Lending, pending in Utah. Defendants admit that Thurston is engaged in litigation with Blocks Lending, except they expressly admitted they deny. Blocks, like many others, done business with Thurston, who had sued Thurston for fraud. Defendants admit that he's engaged in litigation, and defendants affirmably state that BGP has been named as a defendant in that action, not as an alter ego defendant, and that BGP has also been sued for fraud. Defendants further state that the documents and the action speak for themselves. Defendants affirmatively state that BGP has also been named as a defendant in that action. So that's interesting. If he's saying that Blocks Lending's lawsuit involves BGP, then we should be able to see that, right? According to the Blocks counterclaim, Thurston falsely represented to Blocks that he had developed a new and improved cryptocurrency mining equipment, which mined Gala, Green, and Gala NFT without cryptocurrency awards. Defendants state the documents of Block litigation speak for themselves. Thurston alleged that the equipment, a smart box, falsely claimed it was superior. Defendants state the document... Okay, Blocks... We gotta look at the Blocks litigation. Thurston alleged he promised to provide smart boxes at a rebate. Defendants state the litigation speaks for themselves. Blocks allege the promised smart boxes were never delivered and claims damages of approximately $200 million. Defendants state the documents speak for themselves. Blocks alleged 134 speak for themselves. Blocks speak for themselves. Thurston was never authorized to speak for themselves. They deny all the allegations, denying that he sold Gala nodes or stolen licenses. Company never received proceeds from the sale of the Gala nodes. Deny that they sold Gala nodes to Anderson or Blocks. Defendants deny the allegations. Blocks' lawsuit, which associates with the company with one of Thurston's many fraudulent schemes, has caused the company reputational damage. Defendants deny. Thurston failed to disclose that the company had been sued in Block's lawsuit, instead hired attorneys to represent both himself and the company. Defendants deny. When the company learned of the Block's lawsuit, it retained its own counsel. Defendants admit the Block's litigation has named the company as a defendant and that the company is represented by counsel in that matter. Defendants deny the rest. The lawsuit has caused the company to incur legal fees and pays potential. This denied. Another plaintiff, Derek Hope, has been sued by Thurston. Also sued Thurston, Utah, for selling Gala node licenses. Defendants admit that Thurston is engaged in litigation with Hope, which has been resolved. Defendants further state that the documents in Hope litigation speak for themselves. Hope alleged they speak for themselves. Hope to Thurston speak for themselves. Thurston is sued by the SEC for allegedly defrauding investors in the green box. Defendants deny the allegations. They also state that the intellectual property. Defendants affirmatively state that the green predates BGP and the intellectual property used by BGP has been previously developed and deployed as part of the Green Initiative. The Securities and Exchange Commission sued Thurston. Defendants admit the SEC named Thurston among others in a reference action. The case was dismissed. SEC alleged the case was dismissed. SEC alleged the case was dismissed. Upon information belief, Thurston supported his alleged fraudulent scheme by exchanging some portion of stolen Gala for green tokens to pay off investors. They deny the allegations. In order to lure investors into green, Thurston relied upon his association with Gala Games, used the Gala Games name to promote green, and falsely suggested that Gala was somehow involved with the green entity. Defendants deny the allegations of this paragraph. Okay. This looks to me like Arcade, which is a Bene owned company, and Green. That's weird. That's really weird. That's weird. That's really weird. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say that's weird? I'd say that's pretty weird. Interesting. Defendants was not denied allegations. Indeed, Green was not the only questionable venture falsely associated. Defendants deny the allegations. Just as Green purported to solve environmental problems, many of Thurston's other entities purport to use blockchain technology to address a social and environmental issue. Defendants admit that Thurston is committed to utilizing the benefits of blockchain technology. Okay. Gala Games has never been in any way associated with Green or any of Thurston's other ventures, including any of the Connect United Inc. family of entities. Okay. Once again, that sure looks like Bene to me. I can't verify that. All right. We got this. We got Arcade Blockchain presented by Green, right? So Arcade Blockchain. That looks like Michael McCarthy. I can't tell if it is or not. That looks like Bene. I can't tell if it's not. It's interesting. But I will find this. I found this little tidbit. We start looking at the hackathon. They had someone submit Town Stars, Wyoming Town Stars. Looks just like Town Star, doesn't it? That's interesting. That's really interesting. Huh. Interesting that someone had a Town Star game ready to go in 2019. But Green was with Thurston, Arcade, possibly with Bene, and then Town Star ends up being the game that Gala uses. Huh. What are the odds of that, huh? All right, let's get back to the business at hand. All right. Gala Games is not ever been associated with Green. Okay. Defendants admit that BGP is not directly affiliated by any way of corporate relationship with Green or other Thurston-related ventures. Defendants affirmatively state that Connect United owns many Gala nodes and is therefore affiliated in that matter, at least with BGP. They further state that it was all created by Thurston. As a result of the false association, they deny the allegations. June 8th, 2023, Coinbase sent the company a series of questions concerning the SEC's lawsuits against Thurston, inquiring about it. Defendants deny the allegations in this paragraph, and upon information and belief, affirmatively state that the concerns and problems expressed by exchanges and others are directly related to the illegal and improper Gala V2 upgrade designed by Bene to destroy billions of Gala. We haven't talked about this much, but Coinbase did delist Gala, and that's huge because I use Gala. I use Coinbase, right, in the U.S. Thurston's alleged fraud has caused significant damage. They deny. Plaintiffs demand that the company, under the company bylaws, an action cannot be taken by the Gala Games board of directors without the affirmative vote of Thurston and one of the two directors. Defendants admit the allegations in this paragraph, so that is true. June 6th, plaintiff as a shareholder served a demand on the company to take action against Thurston. Defendant admits the allegations of this paragraph and affirmatively state that Thurston repeatedly requested board meetings prior to June 2023, which Bene refused to hold. On June 7th, plaintiff and Thurston, through counsel, agreed to postpone. We saw that. They also agreed to postpone. We saw that. They agreed to postpone. We saw that. We saw that. We saw that. They agreed to... on July 18th, plaintiff and Thurston, through counsel, agreed that the directors could record their votes on the proposal and plaintiff's demand in writing. They admit the allegations. Through counsel, sent a written proposal that Thurston voted against calling for a shareholder vote. Thurston voted against the company filing a lawsuit against Thurston. Well, yeah, of course Thurston would do that. Defendants admit the allegations in this paragraph and affirmatively state the opposite of each of the foregoing was also proposed and rejected, i.e. that Bene be removed as director and that the company file a lawsuit against Bene. Any demand that Thurston vote to take action against himself was futile. Defendants admit the allegations of this paragraph and affirmatively state that any demand that Bene vote to take action against himself was futile. Yeah, of course they would. They're going to, Okay. Because Thurston has demonstrated that he can and will attempt to dissipate and hide the stolen Gala reputable injury to the company would result from any further delay in filing this action. Defendants deny this allegation. Yeah, you're not going to win that one because you waited 2.5 years, Bene. I'm sorry. Okay, count one. This is the derivative claim. So this is the counterclaim, right? Plaintiff restates, alleged, and incorporates by reference the foregoing paragraphs as the same were set forth herein verbatim. That is a lot of bullshit right there. Goodness. As a director, Thurston owes fiduciary duties. The allegations contained in this paragraph are a legal conclusion. Thurston breached his fiduciary duties and his actions accounted for anything, including but not limited to misusing his assets, making false statements, refusing to return Gala. Okay, these are all the allegations, right? Answer: defendants deny the allegations. The foregoing breaches of fiduciary duties have caused harm to the company. Denies. As direct and proximate result of Thurston's breaches, they deny. Derivative claim. Plaintiff restates, alleges, and incorporates by reference the foregoing paragraphs. No response. They deny the allegations that they initially took tokens and licenses. The company owned the Gala. They deny. Deny. Okay. No response required. Defendants deny allegations. Defendants deny allegations. Defendants deny allegations. So they're denying all of this. No response. Defendants deny. No response. Deny. No response required. Admit. Oh, here we go. We got to admit. They admit that they're a shareholder. They admit that Thurston is director of the company. They admit that there was an issue to written demand. Thurston, through counsel, confirmed that he voted against calling for a shareholder vote. They admit that. And then all of this is about his previous stuff. They deny all of it. Deny. Affirmative defenses. Without prejudice to denial set forth in the answer to plaintiff's complaint, without admitting any allegations of the complaint that are not otherwise specifically admitted, defendants assert the following affirmative defenses. So this is now actually the counterclaim. I apologize. The complaint fails to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. Plaintiff's claims, in part, are entirely based on actions and events that are barred by the doctrine of Laish. What is that? Let's look that up. Doctrine of Laish. What the hell? Laish is a doctrine in equity whereby courts can deny relief to a claimant with an otherwise valid claim when the party bringing the claim unreasonably delayed asserting the claim to the detriment of the opposing party. Okay, so this is what we talked about with the 2.5 years. This is what we talked about. So that's what they're saying. Okay. They're saying they are barred by that. Specifically, Bene waited more than 2.5 years after the first instance of the alleged wrongdoing by Thurston to bring a suit. Plaintiff, by his own admissions conduct, is judicially he stopped from taking positions in this dispute that are contrary to admissions and positions he has taken in his pleadings. Plaintiff's claims are barred in whole or in part because the complaint fails to state plaintiff's claim with sufficient specificity and particularity to put defendants on notice of the nature of the claims asserted against them and any purported wrongdoing. Plaintiff's claims are brought in bad faith with unclean hands. We've seen that before. Plaintiff's claims against the defendant should be barred because they failed to mitigate his damages. BGP's financial distress, if any, is the product of the plaintiff's self-dealing transactions and devices used by plaintiff to divert funds and assets to himself and to entities owned and controlled by the plaintiff. So Benny's not good with money, I guess. Or maybe he is good with money. Maybe he's good with money. The relief sought by plaintiff is barred and hold because the alleged damages sought are too speculative and uncertain. Plaintiff's claims against the defendant may be barred and hold because the plaintiff seek to honor his duties of good faith and fair dealing. They may be barred because of doctrine of estoppel. What is this? We got all these fancy words. Let's look this up. Doctrine of estoppel. Estoppel is an equitable doctrine, a bar that prevents one from asserting a claim or right against to contradict what one has said or done before or what has been legally established as true. So that's going off of previous litigations that have gone through. Okay. Plaintiff consented to and or ratified Thurston's use of alleged stolen Gala because plaintiff has been treating his portion of Gala as his own property. So because Thurston says this is his property and Benny has his own property, that's what he's saying. Plaintiff's claims for fraud, unjust enrichment, and equitable accounting are barred because of statute of limitations or statute of repose. Let's see what that. I'm pretty sure I know what this means. With statute of limitations, we all know what that is. Statute of repose. Any law that bars claims after some action by the defendant, even the plaintiff has not yet been injured. Okay. Since the time period begins to run from the date of the defendant's action, even if the injury is yet to occur, a statute of repose is generally more favorable to defendants than a statute of limitations. So if you say you got stolen 2.5 years ago and you wait too long to do it, there you go. Plaintiff failed to exercise reasonable diligence, and therefore any claims relating to alleged omissions or non-disclosures are barred by the doctrine of fraudulent concealment. Some or all of the plaintiff's claims are barred under the doctrine of release and waiver. Plaintiff's claims are barred and hold apart because consented to conduct which about he now complains. I like that. Plaintiffs are barred and hold apart by acts of omission or persons over whom Thurston has no control or right of control. Plaintiff's claims are barred and hold because defendant's actions do not constitute conversion or improper means under federal or state law. Defendants pray for the judgment as follows: that the plaintiff take nothing by reason of its amended complaint or any claim settled therein, that the amended complaint or each purported claim therein be dismissed with prejudice, that judgment be entered in favor of the defendants, the defendants shall recover their costs, expenses, and fees, including reasonable attorney fees, and that the court grant such further relief that is just, proper, and equitable. True North's counterclaims. Here we go. Told you this was a big document. We got a lot to go through. Saying that Bene did breach his fiduciary duties, corporate race, all the same thing. This action arises out of an unlawful scheme and or course of conduct by which Bene, without board or shareholder knowledge or approval, caused BGP to sell off and waste millions of dollars, including burning $600 million in Gala and shareholder assets. Caused BGP to lend millions of BGP funds to himself for personal interest. Usurped corporate opportunities by forming entities in Switzerland and Dubai to pursue business opportunities that rightfully belong to BGP. So this is in regards to what we've mentioned before, where he's got Gala Music and Gala Film set up in Switzerland and Dubai, and the idea being that he can now control those because Thurston doesn't have a part of that. Caused BGP to operate without notice or input to True North's manager and BGP director Wright Thurston, thus eliminating Thurston's ability to help guide BGP. Caused BGP to operate with materially defective financial controls or to provide materially incomplete or incorrect information to Thurston. Caused BGP to fail and refuse to provide True North and Thurston with corporate records despite repeated requests. Unjustified caused BGP to nominally suspend, but actually convert and exert complete control over all of True North's nodes and engage in a systematic, intentional, and deceptive behavior to the detriment of BGP and its shareholders. True North further alleges claims for breach of contract against and conversion against BGP and Bene, and a direct claim for tortuous interference with contract against Schermeyer. True North brings certain claims derivatively because, for the reasons detailed below, the BGP board and currently composed cannot do so. So again, this is on behalf of BGP shareholders and the board. Bene and BGP's actions are ongoing and have seriously damaged and threaten to further damage BGP. The actions have caused and threatened to continue to cause damage to the rights and interests of True North and various other minority shareholders arising under the Founders Agreement. Bene's malfeasance, mismanagement, and self-dealing have resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars in damage to BGP's reputation, company, and shareholders' assets. Unless enjoined, Bene's continuing disregard for the interests of the company and its shareholders threatens to imminently and irreparably harm BGP. By this action, True North seeks to rectify the harm of the company and to True North caused by Bene and BGP's actions. The parties: True North and True North's members The above trust is formed and exists under the laws of Utah. Thurston is a trustee of all above trusts. He resides in Puerto Rico. Defendant Bene is an individual residing in California. Bene has been director since its inception. Jurisdiction and venue. The court has jurisdiction and... Okay. The court has personal jurisdiction over Scheremeyer under the Founders Agreement, which Bene expressly stipulated that any and all disputes shall be litigated in the state or federal courts of Salt Lake City, Utah, and consented to personal jurisdiction of the court. So he explicitly said in the Founders Agreement that he's going to be going through Utah. This court has personal jurisdiction because BGP has purposely availed itself to be a personal jurisdiction of the court. Gotcha. Venue is proper. Factual allegations. The Founders Agreement and BGP bylaws. On or around January 1st, 2019, True North and Scheremeyer founded BGP and several affiliated companies and entities, collectively the BGP companies, which were formed or would be formed to build it blockchain technology previously owned. I want to know what these are. Okay? I want to know what those are. See Founders Agreement. Under the Founders Agreement, the parties agreed that they would earn revenue. Okay, we've seen all this before. We have 100,000 preferred shares. We've seen that before. The bylaws provide the board of directors shall have the control and general management of the affairs and business of the corporation. Such directors shall, in all cases, act as a board, regularly convened by a majority, and they may adopt such rules. Okay. Since BGP's inception, the directors have always been Wright Thurston and Eric Scheremeyer. Relevant positions of the bylaws include director meetings. The annual meeting of the board of directors shall be held each year immediately following the annual meeting of the shareholders. Special meetings. Special meetings could be called by at the request of the president of the corporation or any director. Notice, the special meeting shall be given at least 24 hours previous thereto by written notice if personally delivered or 5 days if mailed or emailed. Quorum and manner of acting. A supermajority, 79% of the directors shall constitute a quorum, which if you've got two of them, you can't get that, right? Either 50 or 100. Voting, all meetings of the board, they shall have to vote. All actions of officers are subject to the direction of the board of directors. For example, while there is a president that serves as chief executive officer of the corporation, the president's general supervision over the business of the corporation is subject to the control of the board of directors. The president may only act as authorized by the board of directors. Accordingly, under the Founders Agreement, all control of the corporation requires the authorization of both Thurston and Bene as the two directors. BGP launches Gala Games. BGP commonly does business as Gala Games since its founding. BGP has grown to become a successful blockchain video game and entertainment company with millions of dollars in revenue and hundreds of employees. During the first 2 years, Bene and Thurston participated in the direction and oversight. True North and Bene contributed millions of dollars, both in the form of US dollar and cryptocurrency, to develop BGP. In exchange, BGP allocated 14,000 nodes. Consistent with the intent of the parties, 14,000 nodes acquired by True North and Bene were the personal property and were available to mine Gala. These nodes, together with any Gala mined by them, were independently owned and controlled by True North and Bene, as was the case with all the node owners. PGP terms and conditions memorialize that fact when a user purchases, receives an NFT or digital reward. A smart contract process, including Gala tokens, the user owns completely and outright. So this is his argument for saying that you can't turn my nodes off as my personal property, right? And the coins that I earn from the nodes are my personal property. BGP nodes confirm, verify, and process transactions of blockchain. BGP's base technology, node software, etc., etc. Scheremeyer provided BGP with understanding of mobile games. Thurston and Bene partnered to create innovative action points. Nodes individually owned by True North and Bene started earning Gala rewards in July of 2019. The first distribution on the Ethereum blockchain was in September 2020. On September 12, 2020, Bene received his initial distribution of 2.3 billion Gala from his node rewards, which were deposited into his private wallet, to which he alone held the private keys. On the same date, True North got 1.9 billion. The foregoing distribution was to be simply a test of a system. However, Bene refused to reset the system in lieu of treating the foregoing as distribution instead of a test. Thurston objected to Bene's actions because not all node owners had been informed of the commencement of distributions, and thus Bene and a small number of others were the only node owners receiving rewards. So basically, what this is saying is Bene took this distribution not as a test, but as a way to make a bunch of Gala, which Thurston says he was against. On or about February 2021, BGP finalized the purchase of Sandbox Games. Shortly thereafter, the founders agreed to another distribution that included the former owners of Sandbox. After the foregoing distributions, any remaining and all additional Gala and NFTs earned by True North and Bene were deposited into and stored in wallets controlled solely by Bene. That should be provable. and or about the first quarter of 2021 following the distribution that resulted from BGP's acquisition of Sandbox, True North, and Bene separated approximately 8.6 Gala each, which they individually owned into wallets individually controlled. Bene, however, took control of all remaining Gala NFTs, including those owned by True North and others, by separating them into wallets to which Bene held the keys. Despite repeated concerns raised by Thurston and requests from BGP shareholders for distribution payments to participate in the node cryptocurrency aspect of the Gala community, Bene continues to hold these Gala NFTs, even sold some for personal benefit. That should also be provable. Bene uses BGP assets for personal gain. Over the last at least 12 months, Bene has exercised unilateral control over operations, assets, and profits of BGP. During that time, Bene has flouted BGP's founding and charter documents and has covertly acted and engaged in transactions on behalf of BGP and used BGP assets and earnings, often for his own personal benefit without consent. For example, Bene caused BGP to send millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency to Canadian resident Jason Brink for unapproved and unknown reasons, which I believe we have Bitbender agreeing to that. Caused BGP to distribute value NFTs to himself, select BGP employees, and without board or shareholder approval. Caused BGP to intentionally destroy hundreds of millions of dollars of asset value by burning Gala tokens. Misappropriated millions of dollars of BGP funds, including using company funds for buying and renting real estate for personal use, transferring company assets into his own name, or the names of entities that he owns or controls, using company funds to hire architects, construction companies, and designers for personal real estate, and moving company funds into personal accounts. So I showed you some of that. I don't know if that was personal or not. Caused BGP to pay $5 million towards an installment purchase of a corporate jet for Bene's personal benefit, despite the BGP board previously agreeing to sell the jet BGP's position. Man, I want a jet too. In or about April 2023, without disclosure or oversight, the board Bene has directed BGP to replace all Gala tokens. So we had the upgrade. Contrary to public announcement, Bene did not cause BGP to upgrade all Gala tokens. In fact, by his own admission in this matter, Bene directed BGP not to replace billions of V1 tokens held by True North, as well as other shareholders, node owners, and simply Gala token holders who held their Gala tokens on non-participating exchanges. So this is big. We talked about how it affects others, right? People lost out on Gala because of V2, and it's because Bene decided to do it. Bene's Gala upgrade caused substantial harm to BGP's value by, among other things, causing cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase to delist Gala and rendered worthless all Gala held by other Gala holders whose tokens were inaccessible to BGP at the time of the conversion. It's also directly damaging True North and others who, by design of benefactor, lost all the value in their Gala V1. At or around the same time, Bene caused BGP to burn billions of Gala belonging to BGP shareholders, again without board approval or without the knowledge of a vote by the shareholders. In total, Bene caused BGP to burn approximately 21 billion Gala V2 tokens, including many replacement tokens belonging to BGP shareholders and community members. It is estimated that they destroyed more than 600 million in assets. For example, by burning True North's Gala V2 tokens, i.e. the replacement tokens, Bene effectively converted over 5 billion Gala V1 tokens in True North's wallet worth around 3 cents each, and then destroyed their value completely. As a result, Bene destroyed the equivalent value of over 150 million in True North Gala tokens. Bene's burn also further destroyed BGP's value by effectively centralizing control and power over the Gala ecosystem in Bene, which is antithetical to one of the BGP's core principles regarding the development of the larger Gala ecosystem and community. I think we can all agree we don't want Bene in control. We don't want Thurston in control. We don't want anyone in control. It's supposed to be decentralized. Bene's decision to replace V1 tokens with V2 in the burn were not explained to nor approved by or overseen by the BGP board or shareholders. Nevertheless, after a public announcement of Bene's actions, Thurston repeatedly informed BGP's corporate counsel that Bene's actions violated the company's organizing documents, but BGP's corporate counsel took no corrective action. Bene burned True North Gala tokens and other tokens belonging to other shareholders, community members, and kept some for himself. Bene further breached fiduciary duties by using company funds to buy and rent real estate. Company board unanimously voted on January 11th, 2023 to liquidate non-crypto assets because of the general downturn. Bene instead directed an installment payment of $5 million to be made toward buying a Gulfstream airplane in April 2023 for his personal use. The expenditure was not disclosed or approved by the board and contradicted the board's vote to liquidate, not buy, physical property. Bene's conduct was, upon information, believed deceptive and intentional, as the financial statements provided by Bene to Thurston as director were inaccurate and omitted significant financial information details about Bene's transaction, including the failure to disclose accurately the creation of the new BGP companies, real estate transactions for the benefit of Bene, and the conversion of Gala. Bene later directed the company controller not to share any financial information with Thurston and delete Thurston from internal company communication channels. That's interesting. Thurston, as director, has also attempted to discuss these and other matters with Bene, has made several attempts to call board meetings to meet with Bene and to find out about the activities. Bene has rejected Thurston's good faith attempts to confer. Bene breaches the duty of loyalty and usurps corporate opportunities. To maximize the value of the BGP intellectual property and expand the Gala ecosystem, BGP's board discussed several times establishing and developing Gala Music and Film. Both potential enterprises were intended and agreed to be wholly owned subsidiaries of BGP. All funding, staffing, and intellectual property for these entities would come from BGP. In its January 2023 meeting, the board approved in context exploring a path to move forward with Gala Music first. No decisions were made to form the companies or to move forward a pending resolution on issues regarding ownership. Thurston sought to address these issues with Bene at the BGP board meeting on April 6th, but Bene lied to Thurston by denying any foreign entities had been created, when in fact the music entity had been formed months earlier. That's interesting. Unbeknownst to Thurston, upon information and belief, Bene formed Gala Music in Switzerland without board approval, authorization, or consent. Unilaterally installed himself as the largest shareholder. He also formed a sales entity in Dubai and again unilaterally installed himself as the largest shareholder. In each case, Bene excluded BGP, True North, and any other BGP shareholders from any ownership. Bene breached fiduciary duty and loyalty, unjustly enriched by taking a BGP opportunity for himself. If this is the case, ooh boy, that's good. Bene has or intends to transfer or use much of BGP's current business tech platforms and assets and intellectual property to benefit the foreign legal entities, yet Bene has effectively removed BGP, True North, and other shareholders from the benefits of the expanded platforms and revenues following from these entities. Bene's actions have not inured to the benefit of the BGP company or its shareholders. To the contrary, Bene's refusal to answer calls, respond to communications, attend meetings, explain his unilateral actions, or take any cooperative action to protect BGP and its shareholders from the conversion, waste, or destruction of BGP assets has greatly damaged BGP and its shareholders, including True North. Bene's creation of separate four legal entities, this is big. I feel like we've talked about this off and on with rumors, right? But this is big. Opportunities rightly belonging to BGP and will further continue to damage BGP shareholders. Because again, this all comes down to, are we damaging the shareholders or not, right? This is about the shareholders, ultimately. Bene exercised control over the nodes. Upon information beliefs, Bene recently announced that BGP would be distributing 8,000 nodes to BGP employees. While Thurston is not opposed to providing additional benefits and incentives to BGP employees, including where appropriate in the form of nodes, the plan for doing so was never disclosed to or approved by the board of directors or shareholders. Moreover, on information belief, BGP does not have 8,000 nodes remaining in its 40,000 node allocation, as dictated by the smart contract. Each node, which is a separate and unique alphanumeric identifier, currently can generate some value in the form of various digital assets each day. On October 10th, 2023, the very next day after the TRO motion he filed in the action against the defendant was denied, Bene sent a letter to Thurston informing him that he unilaterally suspended, i.e. turned off Thurston's nodes. However, they not only been suspended, but they were removed from True North's account in a brazen act of conversion. Now, if I recall, the date on that was different. Let's look. All right, so the email says October 4th is when he wrote it, right? It says that's when he wrote it. But if you look here, there is from Bene to Thurston on October 10th. So that's where I was getting a different date from. It looks like he wrote it on the 4th. Now, did he send it on the 4th? Did he send it to someone else first and then send it to Bene? Maybe that's the case. I'm not too sure. All right, I wanted to make sure I got that right because I was like, okay, that's weird. The letter cites self-serving and unproven claims alleged in Bene's complaint as authority for this act, references old and relevant matters, and stating that Thurston's alleged daily dumping of millions of Gala damages the Gala Games ecosystem. There was no board proposal regarding this action, no authorization for Bene to take this step, which I've agreed with this entire time. Again, I don't believe that Bene should have the control to do that. True North's nodes have been operating without issue for over 4 months. Both Bene and True North independently elected to turn on their nodes in June of this year. During that span, they've generated millions of dollars worth of Gala rewards. True North, like every known owner is expressly permitted to do, has engaged in a number of transactions during those months and since the filing of this lawsuit without complaint or action by Bene or BGP. With the recent action, Bene and BGP have unilaterally shut off True North's nodes and causing significant ongoing harm to True North and Thurston by restricting their right to control and monetize the nodes. By shutting off and effectively stealing True North's nodes, Bene and BGP are depriving True North of the opportunity to generate substantial, valuable digital assets. This unilateral and improper shutting off and stealing of True North's assets is not the first suspension of nodes by Bene. In fact, this is interesting. I don't know this. In fact, Bene has done so at least twice before. For example, in 2023, Bene shut off 500 nodes that True North previously transferred to Liberty United, a blockchain company, in exchange for services rendered. In 2020, Schermeyer shut off 1,000 nodes owned by Connect United with no notice of justification. Shortly before announcing the improper, unlawful suspension of True North nodes, Bene announced a proposed distribution of 8,000 nodes to employees. This number is uncannily the same number of nodes held by True North, approximately 7,000, and Connect, another True North-related company, 1,000 nodes. The announcement is also eerily similar to the self-help action Bene employed in unilaterally burning and destroying billions of dollars. Also, like the burn, the proposed distribution, which at the going rate of approximately $100,000 per node, amounts to giving away $800 million in potential income for BGP, is being taken without board or shareholder approval. To the extent that this gesture presages an upcoming termination of True North's Connect 80,000 total nodes, it would constitute a devastating, tortuous, and criminal act against True North and Thurston's holdings. Alternatively, to the extent that these are not his nodes, there would be an increase in the number of nodes that are supposed to be there. It's supposed to be 50,000. So there's not 8,000 unclaimed. So if he's adding 8,000, that would be more than 50,000. True North brings the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth claims for relief derivatively on behalf of BGP to redress injuries. True North will adequately and fairly represent the interests of BGP enforcing prosecuting its rights based on the fact, applicable law. Profiling demand upon the BGP board to institute action against Bene would be futile and is thus excused. BGP's bylaws require a 2/3 majority vote for the BGP board to act. There are only 2 directors. Therefore, there's no supermajority. Any possibility of resolving this deadlock by shareholders' vote is similarly futile. The bylaws require a supermajority, and they both own 80% total. Notwithstanding the futility and demand process, as referenced by Bene's amended complaint between August 3rd and August 7th, counsel for Bene and Thurston agreed upon any action in lieu of a board meeting in which both directors confirmed that they would vote against removing themselves as members of the board. I'm shocked. Further, all of Thurston and True North's efforts pursuing alternate resolution of these issues have come to naught. Okay, first claim for relief. They allege everything's whatever, the usual stuff. Bene owed and still owes fiduciary obligations. Bene violated his fiduciary duty with all the things he did. Bene cost them about $600,000. BGP has no adequate remedy at law unless Bene is preliminary and permanently enjoined from further breaching his obligations. BGP will continue to suffer. Second claim, Bene's unilateral unauthorized conduct due to directives burned more than 20.9 billion tokens. As a result, corporate waste, Bene is liable to BGP. Wrongful actions, unjustified enriching of himself, etc., etc. True North is a shareholder. Restitution seeks an order court. This is all the claims for relief. I'm not going to read all this. We'll skip down to the bottom. Again, I'm going to upload all these. I'll mention that at the end. Eighth claim for relief. Okay, and this is served by here. Certificate of service. Boom. Okay, so here's the last little tidbit here. Prayer for relief. First, second, and third claims, judgment should be no less than $600 million in monetary damages, in addition to monetary relief, preliminary and permanent injunction prohibiting Bene from using BGP's property to benefit competing companies, ordering Bene to perform his fiduciary duties. On the first, second, third, and fourth claims for relief, order directing Bene to account for damages he caused on all profits, special benefits, and unjust enrichment. Order for equitable tracing for all profits, special benefits, and unjust enrichment. And order imposing a constructive trust for all profits, special benefits. On the fifth claim, removing both Bene as director and president, CEO of BGP. Now, again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think they should both go. I think they should both get out of here. I think him and everybody else involved, Bitbinder's one of the big ones. We're going to go over that in another video. They should all be gone. Put me in, Nick. Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. They're not going to do that, of course. I have no experience, but I care about the community. So that's got to be better than people that just care about themselves, right? Right? That's got to be better, right? Sixth claim for relief, appointing a custodian to act as president and CEO of BGP in place of Sharemeyer. Hey, there we go. Hey, there we go. I'll do it. Seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th claims for relief, judgment against Bene amount according to proof, but no less than $150 million monetary damages. Ninth claim, awarding punitive damages, reasonable attorney fees, and deemed appropriate by the court. There we go. All right, so that's a lot to go through. I'm going to do my best to edit that, but it's a lot, okay? So then we have a summons that was written, and then we have a summons that was signed. So within 21 days after service of the summons, or 60 days if you are in the United States officer, which they're not, they have to answer the motion. So we have a summons that's going. We're moving forward. Okay, this was filed today, the 6th of November. So it's moving forward. All right, and then now we have the declaration for Wright Thurston in support of a TRO. So we're back to the TRO. So again, the first one didn't go through because we didn't have anything in the complaint. Now he's got a complaint filed, so he can file this. Okay. Prior to the incident litigation between myself and Benny, we engaged in ultimately fruitless settlement negotiations. During that period, I requested multiple times that Benny agree to mediate or arbitrate the matter. Benny rejected each request. I became concerned about a scheme by Benny to steal True North's founder node license and distribute them to BGP employees. My concern arose from a communication to BGP employees attached here to as Exhibit 1. Okay, let's go down to Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1. Mark Skaggs. Yeah, I told you guys that guy was bad news. Nobody listened to me. This program is made for team members of the Gala side, so it's basically saying, because we are still creating this plan, please do not share the information. It's Fight Club rules. All team members will get 3 founders node licenses. There'll be further awards. We have 8,000 nodes left in our pool to distribute. We're giving out 3,000 nodes now and 1,000 nodes a year for the next 5. All team members, your founders nodes, distribution was sent to your treasure chest. We have 800,000 nodes left. Yeah, so we repeated that. Yep. Okay. So, there you go. There's that. All right. That's exhibit 1. Which were nodes. BGP does not own nodes as a corporation that it could provide to these employees. Accordingly, BGP would either have to provide new node licenses or have to confiscate previously distributed nodes from existing node owners and redistribute them. Because there are less than 8,000 node licenses remaining from the initial 50,000, BGP could not simply draw from that pool to fulfill Benny's promise. Instead, it seemed clear that Benny's scheme was to somehow confiscate True North's as well as Connect's another 1,000 in order to get the promised 8,000. Days earlier, May 19th, my attorney sent a cease and desist letter to Benny due to concern that would continue to take unauthorized action harmful to the company and shareholders. Once I became aware of the May 26th announcement, I became even more concerned that Benny would attempt to harm me and my family directly by stealing True North's founders node licenses. I communicated my concern with Benny. In response, Benny represented at the time that the plan to provide BGP employees was on hold and would not be moving forward. On October 10th, at approximately 1:16 Mountain MDT, whatever that is, just over 12 hours after the court issued its memorandum denying his application for a TRO, I received an email from Benny claiming he was acting in his capacity as president. The email read, we've read the email. Okay, letter explains that on his direction, he's removing them. Benny further claims that he turned off the nodes because I have allegedly breached BGP's terms of contract by dumping earned Gala. This claim is baseless, nothing more than disingenuous pretext to support his unilateral punitive action. Over the past year or more, Benny has altered BGP's terms and conditions unilaterally, distorting the company far from what was originally intended to be. I have been transacting with Gala generated by True North's nodes, as any node holder is entitled to do, in a consistent manner over the last 4 months, including before this lawsuit was filed. The assertion that these transactions constitute dumping is simplistic and incorrect, as an examination of the underlying blockchain would show. The blockchain also reveals that hypocrisy of Benny's current campaign to strip True North of the Gala generated by its nodes, as it's shown a clear pattern of BGP dumping millions of Gala at Shermeyer's direction on a daily basis in the recent months. Hey, I covered that. Didn't I? I have not violated the Gala node terms, of service, or taken any new action since the filing. I have done nothing in the matter since I simply defend myself against and True North from Benny's self-help campaign to freeze assets, which benefits him personally and not only harms me and True North, but also Gala community at large. As I've said above, we have stated a value in excess of $700 million. Talking about the 100,000, how much the nodes would cost. By turning these nodes off within hours of failing to get a temporary restraining order, he sought Benny unilaterally changed the status quo and is causing significant ongoing harm to me and True North. Okay, I'm concerned that I would not be able to recover the value of the lost nodes. What are we going to do? Give the volatility? Yeah, okay, great. These concerns should be more severe. It became a new lawsuit filed against BGB showing a substantial amount of money to a software studio. Okay, so then this is why he brings up the Drifter lawsuit. I do not have insight into BGP's financials because Benny has actively blocked me from accessing them, but given that BGP is having problems paying partners for overdue invoices, it will certainly have trouble paying the millions of dollars that will be owed to True North for each month that True North's nodes are offline, or the hundreds of millions that would have been lost if the theft of those nodes is not immediately reversed. Perhaps most troubling, I became aware that Benny is in fact moving forward with his plan to distribute the 8,000 founders node licenses to employees of the company as reflected in Exhibit 4. They're not generating node. I declared a penalty of perjury law. Okay, so Exhibit 1 was this plan, right? Exhibit 2 is the email to Thurston, which we've already read. Exhibit 3 is the Drifter lawsuit, which I went over, if you guys want to watch that. And Exhibit 4 is what? Founders Node. Mark Skaggs, news coming today. This is September 21st. Any update on the Founders Nodes? Thanks for your patience for a little while longer today. So that would have been after September 26th. Thanks for your patience. It's taken as much longer than expected to get everything vetted by legal and checked to be 100% locked and set. Now we're in the last steps of double, triple, and quadruple checking things. What WRT takes, I would say, is this week, as long as nothing else unexpected pops up. Okay, so there you go. And we've got a motion for the TRO. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? We want to turn back on the nodes. Okay. This goes over all the same stuff. Talking about the nodes. Legal standard. It goes over the same things we've been over the TRO stuff. The irreparable injury without the TRO. Okay. Substantially likely to succeed. I think that's fair. And we got what's the third one? Balance of harms public. Finally, there is no contest as to the balance of harms public factors. Neither Bene nor BGP will suffer any harm from True North exercising rights inherent in node ownership. In contrast, True North will suffer significant harm being prevented from exercising these rights. Public policy favors respect for property rights, for supporting citizens' freedom to transact with their own assets, and for holding parties to their contractual obligations and discouraging extrajudicial self-help motivated only by personal animus. For these reasons, True North requests that the court grant this motion in order Bene and BGP to immediately turn back on and restore True North's account access to its nodes and refrain from terminating or otherwise distributing them to BGP employees. And there you go. Now he has a motion to his support for it. His support for it is this email from Bene, right? We got the email from Bene, which we've seen before, right? We've seen that before. Okay, and he goes over everything again. Less than 24 hours, factual background. Okay. Oh boy, this is going to be a lot. I'm going to do my best to edit this as best I can. I'm sorry, it's a lot. It is what it is. There's a lot to go through. But, you know, here we are. Thurston moved for his TRO. It got denied because he didn't have a complaint. He filed the complaint and he countered every single one of the arguments or complaints in Bene's document. And we've got a lot of stuff going on. I have nothing against the employees of Gala Games, but if they are indeed taking Thurston's nodes to give to the Gala employees, you can't do that, right? You can't do that. I think Bene fucked up by turning off the nodes. I think that's just... He's in active litigation right now with the guy whose nodes he turned off. He shouldn't have done that. He looks, in my opinion, Bene looks worse and worse as things go on. I don't think Thurston's innocent. I think he's probably doing some fuckery too. But I think they're both wrong. I think they're both bad. I think they both need to go. As I've said again, I will say one more time. They all need to go. Everybody involved needs to go. Mark Skaggs, get the fuck out of here. Bene, out of here. Bitbender, out of here. Thurston, out of here. Get them all out of here. Let's actually start fresh and see if we can actually grow this thing the way that it's supposed to be. You know, it kind of looks silly in hindsight now, looking back and just having two people in charge, 50% and 50%. It doesn't look that great. But that all being said, I'm going to drop these documents in the link down below. If you got any questions, you can leave them in the comments. If you want to help support the channel, I've got links for that as well. I hope you're all doing well. This was a lot. I'm sorry. I'm going to do my best. Okay. I love you. I wish you well. I'll see you later. I'm liking Warlord. That's Stash. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
I want to give a shout out to Bucks and Bitbender. I don't think I could have robbed this community without you.
Ooh, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I want to shout out my Patreons from Patreon, and my new YouTube members as well. I got that going. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so very much. Your help has been crucial to keeping me alive and keep streaming and keep helping and hopefully entertaining you along the way. Anything I can do to make it more worth your while, please let me know down below. Also, you can find me on my Discord. I have my Discord server link down below, Patreon links down below, and then membership should be somewhere around here. Thank you all so very, very much. I really appreciate you. And I look forward to the future, and I hope you will come along for this journey with me. Thank you. Take care.